Thank you. I'm back today with a new review for a new game dedicated to fans of horror and survival struggle games. This game is from Bloober Team, who worked on games like The Medium, Layers of Fear, and Blair Witch, in addition to collaborating with Konami to produce the Silent Hill 2 remake. Therefore, many players are interested in this game for this reason. Let's take you today on a detailed review of this game and an evaluation that will help you know if the game is really worth buying or not, or if it suits you. I wish you an enjoyable and useful viewing, and now let's begin. The game Cronos: The New Dawn, as I mentioned, is developed and produced by Bloober Team, developers who love psychological horror experiences, and it is published by Bandai Namco. The game offers a single-player horror and survival struggle and a third-person shooter. It's coming out on September 5th in a few days for PlayStation 5, Xbox, PC, and also Nintendo Switch 2. The game's price is approximately $60 depending on the platform. Of course, I tried the game previously at Gamescom and posted a gameplay video of it on the channel, but now we're talking about the full experience after finishing it with an evaluation, and first let's look at the story. Story, events. The game's story is a mix of sci-fi and mystery in a horror environment with strange events and psychological effects. The story revolves around a character named Traveler, a girl on a time-traveling journey, coming from the future in an advanced suit with armor and weapons. She went back to the past around the 1980s to an area in Poland. This area is called The New Dawn, which is the title of the game. Anyway, this girl has a mission to extract certain people from the past and take them to the future for a specific purpose. These people are essentially extinct because they are in the past. So how does she bring them back and transport them to the future, and why does she want to transport them in the first place? I don't need to say more to avoid spoilers. In our personal opinion of this game, it's a beautiful experience in terms of story with a wonderful touch of mystery. The direction, mystery, and mix of musical scores remind us of series like Dark or Stranger Things. The story's narrative is good, but honestly, it's inconsistent, and the distribution of events throughout the game isn't up to par. I mean, you can play for long hours without anything happening, then suddenly the scenes and events come all at once. But the big problem with the story is the inconsistent narrative method. Also, the story itself is very complex. Not to mention that the developers have put a lot of content and a large part of the story in papers and things you read in the game, and there's a large amount of text you need to read to understand. Perhaps the developers are avoiding creating cinematic scenes and events, so they settled for documents. That's why I'm telling you, the game is very difficult in terms of narrative, and not just anyone can understand it. It needs someone who is really interested and focused to understand the events. But of course, as you get closer to the end, things start to become more clear. So, in short, that's the story and events in terms of idea and overall level. But now let's talk about the most important thing, which is the gameplay.
As for the gameplay or playstyle, as I mentioned, it's a third-person shooter with horror and survival struggle elements. And this game took the survival struggle aspect very seriously, to the point where it became very difficult. The progression through the levels is linear, but there are interconnected areas that give you a sense of an open world, or one continuous world, meaning you'll return to some places, and there are new places as you progress, of course. Undoubtedly, when you see the game from the trailers, or as I talk to you now, it gives you a feeling like it's similar to Dead Space. Or when you see the character, you remember some things in the menus like Resident Evil, or even Silent Hill in terms of atmosphere. But pay attention, the game might deceive you with its appearance, but it's nothing like the mentioned games. Because in Cronos, the experience depends on combat strategy. Every time you reach a place with a confrontation, you have to finish that confrontation. Every so often, you'll find yourself in a new challenge and a struggle for survival, even against the least or weakest of enemies. It's true you have weapons and helping tools, but often when you face any enemy, you'll find you've used up everything, your resources and ammo are gone. Then the suffering and problems in the experience begin, and this scenario will repeat itself in every confrontation. And imagine if you run out of weapons, melee combat won't help you. As for weapons, you'll have a pistol at the beginning, and you can charge it to power up the shot, but frankly the enemies are always strong no matter what you do, and some of them consume a lot of bullets to go down. You'll find yourself not knowing whether to charge the shot for its power or to shoot quickly, so it will be a difficult confrontation, and the enemies move in a certain way, and aiming is sometimes difficult, so you have to turn on the aim assist in the game. Anyway, with every encounter, you'll find yourself exhausted. And the problem is, if you kill an enemy, another enemy will come and merge with it, creating a stronger enemy. And the stronger the enemies get, know that you'll be beaten more. Later, you will have other weapons like a shotgun and a machine gun or similar, and the combat becomes more balanced, but you will always be the weaker link. The encounter is always a struggle due to the scarcity of resources and the difficulty of the enemies, to the point that you sometimes just have to run away if you can. Of course, there are other obstacles like doors that need keys or a lot of secret codes in the game, as well as fuses, an electrical connection weapon, and burning flesh to open passages. You'll always take a canister and then burn something. In short, the game has suffering in combat and progression. Of course, there are some places that can break the routine. You'll have gravity boots, and you can turn and climb walls and so on, which gives you a bit of variety. One of the important things in the game is that you'll have a weapon you use to rewind time. There are some passages and bridges that you repair. In addition to barrels, you can repair the barrel and blow it up on the enemies and then repair it again and so on. So this weapon just rewinds time for you. Speaking of enemies, imagine that the game has roughly one type of enemy, but it comes in different forms. Sometimes it's normal and looks weak, and sometimes it's hanging on the wall and you have to kill it or it won't let you pass, and sometimes it comes in larger forms. For sure, there are some encounters with different enemies and mini bosses and so on, but the combat will always be difficult. Keep that in mind. Therefore, the game gives you similarity in terms of enemies, but with a difference in size and power sometimes. And imagine with all this suffering, unfortunately, the game has no dodge button and running is slow and frustrating. I keep reminding you of the suffering because the game is really difficult, especially the last part and the final boss. The game becomes very difficult. This is on the normal difficulty. So if I were to summarize the gameplay, it's a repetitive and very difficult survival experience. Throughout the game, you will find yourself suffering, and it gives you a general sense of struggle. We can say that the game as a challenge might suit some people, but I'm sure it will annoy most players. Now let's look at a positive aspect, which is the graphic.
As for the graphics, frankly, the game's appearance is very wonderful in terms of environment design, atmosphere, and lighting. All are excellent. The game gives you nice details, and you'll get immersed in the graphics even if you're not focused on something else. You'll feel that the game is really well made in this aspect, whether on console or PC. The Switch version is weaker, frankly. I tried it at Gamescom, but its level is not bad even on the Switch. Of course, Unreal Engine 5 is what helps the developers, so the game looks very beautiful in terms of graphics, and that's the most important thing. But the physics is a developer's skill. The physics in the game and the movement are not at a phenomenal level. You'll see it's okay. The character's movement feels stiff, and the enemies don't have dismemberment at a high level. I mean, if I take you back 17 years, we see the physics of Dead Space, and you'll know that this game is lacking in terms of movement and physics. I mean, Cronos gives you a sense of primitivity in some things like movement and physics. As for the graphics, effects, and lighting, and when you shoot and see it in the dark, these are generally nice graphics in the game. And depending on the environment you're in, you'll always enjoy its atmosphere graphically. And for this review you're watching, it's fully recorded using a gaming laptop, and the game runs excellently, so I think the game's optimization is fantastic. So that's the summary of the graphics, and now we move on to the pros, cons, and the rating. As for the pros, the first advantage of the game, which is obvious, is the level of graphics. It's very wonderful in details, and the quality of the visuals in general is excellent in the game. Secondly, I really liked its atmosphere, direction, and the horror and mystery vibe it has. What made it stand out more is the sound design and the music. It's truly wonderful. It has beautiful musical periods and amazing moments. The third advantage of the game is the use of weapons. There's fun in shooting and the weapon's feedback and sounds in general, but unfortunately, ammo is scarce. The last advantage in the game, it's true there's suffering, but what motivates you to progress is wanting to upgrade your weapons and the tools you have. So there's a development mechanic for the suit and these things that can give you some encouragement to progress. As for the cons, and there are a lot of them, unfortunately, first, the game is not balanced in terms of its difficulty. The difficulty is greatly exaggerated to the point of exhaustion. Literally, you'll feel everything is against you in the game, and you never feel in control during encounters. You'll always be scared, beaten, and dying. The strength of the enemies is exaggerated in general, and it's frustrating that an enemy can take 1, 2, 3, 4 shots and maybe not die, while you only have 4 or 5 bullets. The fact that they aren't easily affected, even if you aim at sensitive spots, doesn't make a difference. And the second problem is, even if you kill the enemies and you want to focus on the puzzles, they will attack you because the corpses will have another enemy merge with them and they become stronger. So you're forced to not only kill enemies, but also burn them to get rid of them. Another con in the game is that the ammo and healing are not well designed. No matter how many resources and upgrades you collect and want to upgrade, sometimes your bag is full of items and you have to use something just to pick up something from the ground. There's also a con regarding the character control. It feels heavy and there's no dodge button and your movement is slow. And if you want to do melee, it won't help you either. Also another con, unfortunately, the game has no puzzles overall. Maybe there's one puzzle at the end that could be called a puzzle, but for this type of game and survival struggle, I wish the puzzles had more value. Unfortunately, all you do is collect secret codes, keys, and trivial things. So the challenge of puzzles has no meaning. Don't expect a lot of puzzles and fun from this aspect. I also want to criticize the storytelling part. Even if you know English, there are things. What didn't help you understand is the direction itself. Not that you don't understand the language. No, it's just difficult. There's also a con in the level design. The game is annoying in terms of its levels. It's like a maze, and imagine there's no map to help you. So you start to go in circles and search for where to go until you find the way. And the last thing in the game, as a complete experience, it will give you a feeling of repetition, and it's very difficult. We finished it in about 14 hours, and the normal difficulty was very hard. Imagine at the end it tells you we've given you a higher difficulty and a new suit. Well, my friend, no thanks.
As for the conclusion, first of all, I say thank you to Bloober Team, and thanks for this attempt. The game has beauty and some advantages and gives you a beautiful feeling of mystery, but it is considered an average game with more cons than pros. Personally, I was expecting something better, especially from the experiences Bloober Team has provided before, or even if you saw this game's trailer. All I can say is, if you like very difficult survival struggle experiences and you don't have a problem with English, you might like the game. I think the game is not suitable. In general, I see it as an acceptable to good experience. I'd say 7.5. To be honest, it has some nice things, but the negative aspects are many, so 7.5 out of 10. In the end, this was the review for Cronos: The New Dawn. I hope I gave you a sufficient idea about the game and did the game justice, and explained whether it's suitable for you or not. For those who are still hesitant, you can watch a gameplay video on the channel or check out other reviews. The point is, don't rush into the game unless you're sure it suits you. I'd like to thank you for watching.